Hello, I'm reading from a copy of Self-Realization Fellowship Lessons that I downloaded from angelfire.com. This is the beginning of S1P21. You were hiding from him by Paramahansa Yogananda. Forsake the tipsy dance of forgetfulness. Be sobered by the understanding that you must not neglect to honor the silent guest in your temple. Forgive your enemies, but not yourself. The greatest enemy of your own self, who forgets to befriend your best friend waiting in the temporary parlor of your life. The light of life is waning, and darkness is approaching fast. Kindle the unextinguishable lamp of love, that by its light you may behold him with the chimeral gloom of death, when this chimeral gloom of death throws its curtain of darkness around you. You were away, and he was here in your heart, always waiting and waiting for you. And now you have come whining that you have not been waiting for him. It is you who have been hiding from him. And now that you have found him, you must lose sight of him no more in this self-woven cocoon of your own unknowing. Open your error-drunken eyes and behold the light tapping on the gates of your closed eyelids. Open the inner eye of silence. Behold him spread all over your being. Pull off the veil of sorrow and find his blissful presence. Remove the self-created darkness of delusion and behold him right within your bosom. You ran away from your all-containing soul home to stay in the dark hovel of evanescent pleasure. Now come and behold your home of all fulfillment within you. He has not been hiding from you. You have been hiding from him. Prayer. O Father, teach me to realize thy nearness behind the voice of my prayer. Teach me to breathe thy breath in my own breathing. The technique of concentration. It is necessary to keep the attention free from distraction during concentration. The mind of the average person is restless even when he makes a real effort to concentrate. Try as he will to keep his attention focused on one object of thought, his mind slips away and concentrates on everything else imaginable. When the attention thus becomes enslaved unconsciously by objects of distraction, efforts to concentrate bear meager fruit. Breath and life force. This SRF lesson deals with the scientific approach to God, harmonizing breath, life force, and mind to achieve one-pointed concentration on him. Controlling the life force in the body enables the yogi to switch off the current from the sensory nerve telephones, thus making it impossible for disturbing sensations to reach the brain and distract attention from its march towards the divine goal. Breath is not life, but is necessary to ordinary physical existence because dark venous blood has to be purified by oxygen. Breath is the cord that ties the soul to the physical body. One who can live without breath can free his soul from slavery to the breath and hence to imprisonment in the body. Because of the vital link between the breath and life force, many persons think that pranayama, life force control, consists in holding the breath for long periods. This is untrue. The mortal breath that binds the soul to the body cannot be made to stop by forcibly holding it in the lungs, which is dangerous. Rather, by stopping decay, parentheses, the normal process of cellular breakdown, parentheses. In the system, it is developing calmness and practicing spiritual exercises such as Hong Sau. Yogis achieve the breathless state in a natural way. It is the life force that governs breath, heartbeat, sensory impressions, and motor responses, all the functions of the body. Pranayama means control of that life force and hence control over all the functions of the body. Function of life force. The first function of life force in the body is to supply energy directly to the brain. The all-surrounding cosmic energy enters the brain through the medulla oblongata. From the medulla, life energy is also transmitted to the heart, lungs, diaphragm, to every organ and every cell in the body. Life force is the electric power that directly energizes the cells and keeps them functioning in a living way. Flowing into the body through the medulla, life force keeps the body battery charged with life. Breath, food, and sunshine are merely subsidiary sources of energy. Their breakdown by the activating life force creates additional electrical power for the body battery. If the body in an automobile has gone dead, it can be reactivated only by newly charging it with the electricity from an outside source. Similarly, a dead body battery can be revived only by a fresh charge of life force from the cosmic source. It is useless to fill the stomach of a dead person with food or to pump oxygen into his lungs. Food and oxygen sustain life only if the life force is already actively present in the body. A storage battery could be used indefinitely if recharged by electricity, and if the physical characteristics of its positive and negative plates and the electrolyte did not change. Similarly, by higher training, the body may be sustained by the intelligent life force alone, which acts as a recharging electricity and also prevents the deterioration of the physical properties of the body battery. The fact that human beings and animals in states of suspended animation can maintain life indefinitely by spinal and mental energy shows that life force itself is the only essential to sustaining life. Hindu saints have been buried alive beneath the ground for as long as several months, even years, without food or oxygen, and after disinterment have regained consciousness and resumed normal life. In mortal existence, however, the life energy of the body, instead of drawing directly from its source, the inexhaustible cosmic energy, distills energy from food and thus comes to depend on being sustained by food. But food is not the cause of the presence of life force in the body. It is merely one of the conditions by which mortal life exists. Without light, reading a book is impossible, but the reading matter is not caused by the light. Likewise, without food, existence is ordinarily impossible, yet food is not the cause that creates life. Through the habit of incarnations, the body has become used to depending upon food and breath to maintain life. The more the body is trained to live by life force, the less it needs depend on food and oxygen. The less it need depend on food and oxygen. The function of the breath. The function of the breath is to supply oxygen to the body. Breath indirectly supplies energy to the body by the explosion of oxygen into the atoms of life force. Passing through the walls of the lungs into the bloodstream, oxygen changes dark, waste-carrying venous blood into vitalizing red arterial blood. The greater the amount of venous blood, the greater the necessity for breath. If there is no venous blood in the body, parentheses, as in suspended animation, when, through the preservation of waste-creating activities of bodily tissues, conscious rest is given to the bodily cells, parentheses, there is no necessity for breathing. For this reason, the Hindu masters taught control of the life force in the heart by stopping cellular deterioration in the body, producing the resultant breathless state. When one arrests cell decay, the causes that create venous blood, the functioning of the heart becomes unnecessary for the time being. Yogis accomplish this by eating only pure foods that produce little waste in the body, and by practicing scientific spiritual methods of calming the physical and mental processes. Methods such as SRF recharging exercises and concentration techniques. Calmness of heart and breath necessary for perfect concentration. The prevention of cell decay in the tissues means that the heart does not have to pump impurities-laden blood into the lungs for cleansing, nor to send oxygen-laden red blood to feed the bodily tissues. When the deteriorating process in the body is thus halted and there is no venous blood to be pumped into the lungs, the heart becomes naturally and completely calm. The yogi who has thus calmed the heart also finds that the absence of venous blood in the lungs and the state of suspended animation of the bodily tissues makes superfluous the absorption of oxygen from the air into the bloodstream. Breathing simply becomes unnecessary. Breathlessness and deathlessness. The Hong Sau technique enables its practitioners to solve the mystery of breath by doing away with breath. Only those who properly regulate the breath, that is, to be able to do without breath at all by practice of a scientific technique such as Hong Sau, can attain self-realization. If you can do without breath, you can control bodily life, prolong it, rise beyond to soul awareness in this life. To do without breath is to exist comfortably without feeling any need to breathe. Going without breath does not mean forcing or suppressing air in the lungs. Watching the breath is the preliminary step in controlling it. Then the consciousness gradually realizes itself as distinct from the involuntary bodily function of breathing and separates itself from the breathing function. The yogi who has gained breath control is then able to recognize that consciousness is the only thing that is real about his existence. By training his consciousness according to the method as to be described in this lesson, the student begins to realize that his life is not dependent upon bodily functions and that his real nature is spiritual and immortal. Thus he understands the delusive nature of ego consciousness, which causes us erroneously to identify ourselves with the body instead of realizing the divine nature of our being. Sat Chai Tananda, eternal existence. Sat parentheses, eternal consciousness, Chit parentheses, eternal joy, Ananda. Bible and Hindu scriptures agree. Man's body battery parentheses, shall not live parentheses, cannot be sustained parentheses, by bread alone parentheses, solid and liquid food and oxygen only parentheses, but by every word parentheses, unit of life energy parentheses, that proceedeth out of parentheses, pours forth from parentheses, the mouth of God parentheses, the medulla oblongata at the base of the skull in the back of the head, through which cosmic energy descends into the body parentheses. Matthew 4:4. The life energy that transforms food into energy is the real sustainer of life. According to the Hindu scriptures, the food of the future will be almost solely this life energy from the cosmos. When man's body, mind, and soul batteries run down, they will be recharged directly by cosmic energy. The following important results follow from attainment of the breathless state. The heart calms down and switches off energy from the 5 sense telephones, thus helping concentration. 2. The noise of the bodily machinery is stopped. 3. The process of cellular decay in the internal organs is stopped. 4. One realizes that the body lives through cosmic energy coming through the medulla oblongata. 5. One learns to live by cosmic consciousness and not by bread or breath alone. 6. The soul is released from bodily bondage and breath slavery. Preparation for practice. This lesson teaches you how to switch the life current in the body bulb off and on at will, how to bring about perfect relaxation. Inattention during the practice of these exercises brings on sleep. Concentrated attention will bring a tingling sense of divine life to every body cell. When practicing this technique of concentration, it is a good idea to sit on a straight-backed chair with a woolen blanket placed over it. The blanket should run down under the feet, insulating the body from earthly magnetic influences and disturbances. Face east and sit erect without touching your spine to the back of the chair. Always keep the spine and head in a straight vertical line during practice. The body should be relaxed with the hands resting palms upward on the thighs. Hong Saw technique of concentration. With eyelids completely closed or half closed, focus your gaze at the seat of the spiritual eye between the eyebrows. From the center of calmness and concentration, mentally watch (be aware of) the natural flow of your breath coming in and going out. Do not in any way use mental will or force to draw your breath in or to send it out. Try to feel as detached about it as you would if you were merely observing someone else's breathing. As the breath comes in, mentally chant Hong (rhymes with song). At the same time, move the index finger of your right hand towards the palm. As the breath goes out, mentally chant Saw (rhymes with saw), and move the index finger away from the palm. The movement of the index finger is only to help you to differentiate inhalation from exhalation, as we are ordinarily not accustomed to noticing which is taking place. If you have no difficulty in mentally differentiating inhalation and exhalation, or in chanting the right word with each, Hong with inhalation and Saw with exhalation (the movement of the index finger is unnecessary. There should be no movement of the tongue as you mentally chant the words Hong and Saw. Every sound in the universe has a different mental correspondence and mental effect. Hong and Saw are two sacred Sanskrit chant words that have a vibratory connection with the incoming and outgoing breath. The mental repetition of Hong with the inhaling breath and Saw with the exhaling breath has a markedly calming mental effect, and thus helps the student to concentrate in this exercise of watching the incoming and outgoing breath. By correct, continued practice, you will feel a great calmness. Gradually, you will realize your true identity as soul, superior to and existing independently from your physical body. Hong Saw may be practiced any time. Practice this Hong Saw technique during your daily morning and evening meditation period. In addition, you may also practice it during leisure periods or when you are traveling in a bus or streetcar, or whenever you are sitting anywhere not doing nothing else. By practicing Hong Saw in public, do so without moving the finger or closing the eyes or fixing the gaze between the eyebrows (which might attract the attention of people around you). Just watch the breath and mentally chant Hong with each inhalation and Saw with each exhalation. Keep the eyes open, gazing calmly ahead at some particular point. Restless movements of the eyes reflect the restlessness of the thoughts in the mind, and if the eyes are gazing about, taking in various objects or scenes, these sight perceptions give rise to further restless thoughts. In leisure moments, you may even lie down on your back if you wish and practice Hong Saw, though in the supine position one is more susceptible to falling asleep. As a general rule, Hong Saw should be practiced in the correct upright meditation posture. Best time to practice concentration technique. There are 4 periods during each day that have a vibratory correspondence with the 4 seasons of the year. Early morning is spring, noon is summer, early evening is autumn, and midnight is winter. 4 changes take place in the body during these 4 magnetic seasons of the day. The SRF exercises and techniques neutralize the effects on the body of the 4 changing periods by vitalizing and magnetizing the body with life currents and with cosmic consciousness. These currents arrest change and suspend the decaying process in the cells. Therefore, it is best to practice this changelessness producing technique (Hong Saw) at least 4 periods of the day to obtain satisfactory scientific results. Meditate between 5 and 6 a.m., 11 and 12 a.m., 5 and 6 p.m., and 10 and 12 p.m. (or between 11 and 12 p.m.). The purpose of Hong Saw practice is to gain conscious passivity and to free the attention from sense entanglements. Under the spell of Maya, cosmic delusion, man identifies himself with the physical body, which lives in and requires the atmosphere of air, just as fish needs the environment of water. Breath is the cord that binds the soul to the body. As man learns to rise above the need for breath, he ascends into the celestial realms of angels. As he watches the course of incoming and outgoing breath, the yogi finds that his breath naturally slows down and calms the relatively violent action of the heart, lungs, and diaphragm. Hong Sau rests the heart. The most overworked organ in the body is the heart, which pumps about 18 tons of blood a day and has no rest at night as the other organs have. The Hong Sau technique is a scientific method for resting the heart. Its practice thus increases longevity and liberates a tremendous amount of life current, which is distributed all over the body, recharging, revitalizing, and renewing all body cells and preventing their decay. This marvelous Hong Sau technique is one of the greatest contributions of India's spiritual science to the world. It teaches one how to lengthen the span of life and is a simple and practical method of rising above body consciousness and realizing oneself as immortal spirit. In sleep, we experience sensory relaxation. In death, complete relaxation involuntarily takes place, owing to the stopping of the heart's actions. If one can learn to control the heartbeat, he can experience conscious death, as did St. Paul, parentheses, I die daily, 1 Corinthians 15:31, parentheses. And all the yogis of India who have practiced this Hong Sau technique and through it achieved mastery over the action of the heart. Since ancient times, India's greatest yogis have known how to leave the body voluntarily, honorably, and gladly. They were not thrown out roughly or even taken by surprise by death at the expiration of the leases on their body temples. When the heart rests, breath becomes unnecessary. Life energy then withdraws from the heart and sensory nerves into the spine and brain. This disconnects the telephones of the five senses, whose incessant messages from the outside world ordinarily keep the ego continually disturbed and attention scattered. Through sensory disconnection by practice of Hong Sau, sensations cease to arouse thoughts, which in turn cease to arouse the subconscious mind by associated thoughts. The attention thus becomes scientifically free from all distractions, and the student is ready to go on to advanced concentration and meditation practice. Hong Sau, the silent Kriya Yoga. Every SRF student should remember that Kriya Yoga is a science consisting of various steps, only one of which is that special technique called Kriya Yoga. Parentheses, the particular Kriya Yoga technique that was taught by Lahara Masaya and is now given through Self-Realization Fellowship, parentheses. Hong Sau may be called the silent Kriya Yoga, but one advantage of the Hong Sau exercise over Kriya is this, that one may practice it after dinner or before dinner, in silence or among crowds, whereas Kriya Yoga should be practiced only when the stomach is empty or partially empty and in privacy and silence. Hong Sau may be practiced any time the mind is not engaged in outward activity and is therefore free to be interiorized. Therefore, one should practice it often during leisure periods as well as during one's regular meditations. Cultivation of Hong Sau practice during leisure periods will augment the good effects derived from Kriya practice. Indeed, practice of the Hong Sau techniques should never be forsaken, even after one receives the specific technique called Kriya Yoga. The purpose in practicing the Hong Sau technique is the same as in Kriya Yoga, to produce the divine ecstasy that deep practice of Kriya Yoga gives. The only difference between Hong Sau and Kriya Yoga lies in the degree of speed with which the effects are derived. 24 hours of prayer or meditation by any other technique except Kriya Yoga will not produce as much spiritual advancement as 1 hour's practice of Hong Sau. Likewise, it would take 24 hours of deep Hong Sau practice to produce the same spiritual result gained from 1 hour's practice of Kriya Yoga. Students should not erroneously think that they have nothing effective to work with until they have Kriya Yoga. Just as it is necessary to pass through high school in order to enter college, it is also necessary to carry on the practice of Hong Sau in order to get the desired result from the higher practice of Kriya Yoga. When a student passes from high school into college, he doesn't forget what he has learned in high school. He takes that knowledge with him and expands it in his college training. Similarly, the SRF student should by all means continue with practice of the Hong Sau technique and also with the technique of listening to the cosmic sound or Om, which will be given in a later lesson, along with the practice of Kriya Yoga, when he becomes eligible to receive it if he wants to make the grade and attain realization of the infinite. Affirmation: I exhale and stop the storm of breath, and the ripples of thought melt away. The grip of the senses is loosened. The cords of flesh are broken. Self-Realization Fellowship Lesson S1 P22. I will drink of thee by Paramahansa Yogananda. O divine gardener, till the wild soil of my mind with the plow of thy wisdom, and sow therein the seeds of my devotion. Under thine unvarying vigilance the seeds will sprout and yield a harvest of thy blessings. In the wine press of my heart I will convert those luscious blessings into the nectar of thy love. I will fill the spacious bottle of my soul with the aged wine of thy love, and I will ask all my thoughts and feelings and all my wisdom and intuition to be joyous in the intoxicating wine of thy constant affection. I shall never be contented drinking thee out of the cask of silence. I want to pour thee into the truth's thirsty mouths of all minds. I want to drink thee and dance with thee, young and old, man and woman. All my brothers and sisters must drink thee with me, for it is more thrilling to drink thee with others whom we love and with all thy children whom we should love. I will dance filled with thee, and I will dance with all those who are saturated with thee. I will dance with thee and Lady Blossoms, Mother Moon, Sister Stars, and Guardian Sun. All will join us in our joyous, ever-new rhythmic dance of eternity in cadence with the soul-melting melody of the music of the spheres. Ah, I will drink thee and will dance with thee eternally in the ever-changing scenes of time. Prayer. O Father, teach me to breathe thy breath in my own breathing. Teach me to feel thine all-pervading life in my life. Flood my senses with thy light. Routine of concentration. Life force and vital power. Life force is the electric power in the sensory and motor nerve telephones that make it possible for the ego and the intelligence to receive sensations of sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell through the sensory nerves and to transmit impulses of reaction through the motor nerves. Control of the life force helps the ego to switch off the electric energy from the nerve telephones and thus prevent the invasions of restlessness, creating attention-enslaving sensations. To control the life force in the 5 sense telephones is to practice concentration scientifically. When energy is switched off from the nerve telephones, sensations are unable to snatch away the attention from its concentration upon a particular idea. The vital essence of the body is formed of the most precious tissue and energy of the body. Every drop of creative chemical fluid is said to contain the concentrated essence of 8 drops of blood and the electrical energy that would be contained in their thousands of blood corpuscles. Each cell of the creative fluid is a condensed electric battery containing a microscopic intelligence. To dislodge these mental and astral storage batteries from the body weakens the vitality of the body and the mind and makes the breath extremely breathless. Myriads of atoms of life and intelligence are lodged like encamped soldiers in the creative chemical compound. To drive them out of the body foolishly, lured by the enemy sexual temptation, is to lose these soldiers of energy and mental power and to become a victim of the army of darkness, disease, weakness, fear, worry, dissatisfaction, melancholy, and even premature death. The mind is the operator that controls the breath, the life force, the vital power, and all functions of the body. Without its guiding power, all function of the body would cease to operate. Mind control leads to control of all the functions of the body, but mind cannot control all of the function of the body until it knows its own power, its own powers, and the relative powers of breath, life force, and vitality in connection with itself. The person who tries to attain mind control by harmonizing breath, life force, and vital essence finds freedom more quickly than the person who tries to attain mental control without the aid of controlled breath, energy, and vitality. Okay, that's the end of S1 P22, page 2. I'm stopping there. Thanks for listening. Bye.